Welcome to the Working Hour with Mike and Shane. I'm Shane, and across the table from me is my best friend and co-host Mike. Go ahead and say hi, Mike.
I go by Michael, but you can call me Mike. I mean, we've been friends for a while, so I'll take that.
We're recording this on April Fool's, so I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I am actually Mike,
And I'm Shane.
and that is Shane. Go ahead and tell Shane the album that we're going to be covering for this week.
So this week's album is going to be The Bends by Radiohead, coming in at 48 minutes and 33 seconds. The Bends is the second studio album by English rock band Radiohead, released on the 13th of March, 1995, by Parlophone. It was produced by John Leckie, with extra production by Radiohead, Nigel Godrich, and Jim Warren. The Bends combines guitar songs and ballads with more restrained arrangements and cryptic lyrics than Radiohead's debut album, Pablo Huddy, from 1993. Radiohead toured extensively for the Bends, including U.S. tours supporting R.E.M. and Alanis Morissette.
She's Canadian.
Hey, you don't say. The singles include My Iron Lung, High and Dry, Planet Telex, Fake Plastic Trees, Just, Street Spirit, Fade Out, and The Bends. The genres include alternative rock, indie rock, Britpop, and post grunge, which I can definitely see some post grunge on this.
Post grunge is an interesting. The 90s was an interesting because that's 93.
Yeah.
Post grunge.
Yeah.
But that was still when grunge was kind of going on.
Yeah. So, let's see here. The Bends reached number 4 on the UK album charts. It sold slowly in the US, but sales eventually started to pick up, just due to word of mouth being so good. Let me see here. It was eventually certified platinum in the US and quadruple platinum in the UK, which, goddamn, quadruple platinum?
Yep.
Like, shit. The Bends was nominated for Best British Album at the Brit Awards in 1996, and elevated Radiohead from one-hit wonders to one of the most recognized British bands, credited for influencing a generation of post-Britpop acts such as Coldplay, Muse, and Travis. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know who Travis is, but hey, I'm glad he was inspired. Yeah, man. The Bends brought Radiohead significant critical attention. The Guardian critic Caroline Sullivan wrote that Radiohead had transformed themselves from nondescript guitar beaters to potential arena fillers, which time has gone on. Yeah.
You were right.
The grandeur may eventually pall, as it has with bands like U2, but it's been years since big bumptious rock sounded this emotional. Q described the Bends as powerful, bruised, majestically desperate, a record of frighteningly good songs. Critical reception in the U.S. was mixed. Chuck Eddy of Spin deemed much of the Bends as knotted out nonsense mumble, not enough concrete emotion. Kevin McHugh from the Chicago Tribune panned York's lyrics as self-absorbed and the music as overblown and pretentious, and said there was little on the British group's second record to suggest they'll be more than one-hit wonders.
Oh.
Fuck you! Yeah, so. Yeah, I you know what? He was wrong. I don't know what's wrong with America.
I do still feel like Creep is like their most known hit, but that's coming from me, which doesn't really say a whole lot. But I feel like that is still probably like one of the most known.
I feel like you need to educate yourself.
Yeah.
No,
that's a fair point. No, that's what I'm saying. I would say that to anybody. I just still feel like they are tied to that.
Yeah, it is. I feel like that's kind of a shadow that they like.
They can't get away from.
They would love to shake that, but it's like you're always going to be the Creep band with a lot of great music associated with you. But
they have other stuff for sure. But I feel like You can't look past Creep.
Fucking yeah, Kid A, OK Computer, and I've never listened to it, but I hear like In Rainbows is phenomenal.
Pretty good.
So I don't know. One of these days I'm gonna listen to that because I'm curious about it. So that, and I hear Moon Shaped Pool is pretty good too, and a couple other things
Yeah,
too.
that sounds like they have quite a discography.
That they do. That they do. Do you have anything to add?
Not a whole lot. This was like the second and only, well, out of the two albums I know by Radiohead, this was all new to me going into it. I feel like I have a decent grasp of it now, but all I was really familiar with was Pablo Honey, which it sounded similar. And I actually I tried to make a point to listen to Pablo Honey just to refresh myself on it, but I did not. But it's a refreshing change up listening to this. It's something new to me by an artist that I was somewhat familiar with, but not really like across multiple albums. I'd heard a little bit here and there, but I never really cover to cover listened to an album of Radiohead's except Pablo Honey. So it was nice. Looking forward to getting into it. That's all I have. You can take it away. We can start with track one.
Okay. So we'll start with track one, which is a single. We have Planet Telex coming in at 4 minutes and 19 seconds. The song opens quiet with almost like a almost like a whooshing, like an air whooshing sound approaching. Kind of gives this feeling of descending onto an alien planet. That's just what I took away, just given the song's
Oh, that's
name.
clever. Yeah, I never
Yeah.
put that together. That makes sense though.
This is before the drums come in, along with some distorted keyboard and bass guitar. The guitar um, comes in alongside Tom's vocals, um, which also has some distortion to it. You can force it, but it will not come. You can taste it, but it will not form. I'm really enjoying the instrumentation on this song. It's a nice mix of distortion and some really solid bass guitar throughout. The chorus has some crashing of the drums and the gaps of the vocals. The lyrics on the chorus are very much more on the sad side of Radiohead's writing, despite the music being like more upbeat and
Yeah.
energetic. Let's see, as Tom York really belts it out. Everything is broken. Everyone is broken. The air whooshing does return as the song kind of goes on. During the chorus, the music gets kind of epic. Also noticing that faint electric guitar in the background. At 3:26 through until the end is the outro, as we get some very distorted keyboard and Tom's vocals slow. Why can't you forget? Why can't we forget? As the song winds down, this isn't like a favorite of mine off the album, but I enjoy this song quite a bit. I think there are some really solid moments musically, and it works very well as a introduction to the album. I thought this was a great song to start off the album. I know you said the Bends would make like a pretty decent like opening track, just given it's
Yeah,
the
just pretty much just on
yeah,
that. Just the
but
fact that it's the name of the album.
like I almost can't like imagine this as track two. I don't know.
I'm
That's
with you.
just
No, I think they did it right.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's like track seven, maybe, but I don't know.
That makes less sense than anything.
But yeah, I thought this was a good opening, and I gave this a 3.7 out of 5.
Okay. I'm just a bee's dick lower than you on the score.
Okay.
It's a nice little fade in. Like you said, the whooshing noise. I just kind of tagged it under like an electronic sound. But the music that comes after like that 15-second mark is smooth and catchy, and it definitely piqued my interest. Around 42 seconds, you get the first vocals. You can force it, but it will not come. You can taste it, but it will not form. Tom York is just an iconic voice. And going off what I knew coming into this, listening to Pablo Honey before, like I talked about in the intro, this kind of picked up sound wise, like right where Pablo Honey left off. They're very similar. I want to say this is 2 years after Pablo Honey, right?
Yeah.
A year or two. But I think I'm in the same boat as you. I think it's a very good opening track, and it really piqued my interest and my curiosity in what would come later. It's a very chill tempo song, but at times it feels like it builds up energy, but there's not really like a big breakdown or a drop off. It just kind of smooths out. I kind of put it as like a wave crashing. Like it definitely builds up some energy, but it's not like super heavy. But no spoiler. I mean, I don't classify Radiohead as like a very heavy band. They definitely at times heavy for them, I guess is the way to put it. I didn't really find a lot of substance in the lyrics, which I don't really find a lot in the album, which I'll we'll talk about that more as it goes on. But they are like you described it in the intro. They're very cryptic,
Hmm.
and I didn't really put a lot of research into a lot of the lyrics. I'm just kind of I've learned to just kind of like the sound for what it is.
Yeah, I feel like there are like maybe like one or two songs where
Yeah,
it's like,
some are like
oh,
yeah, it's pretty obvious, but
yeah,
then there's other ones where it's like
I know what you mean by that.
this is very open to interpretation. I think. At 3:55, there's like an electronic noise that kind of starts and drones in, and it really takes over and then fades out as the music fades out after. I liked it, and I was optimistic about what's to come. I gave this a 3.6 overall. I didn't think it was a good song, just nothing crazy, and I didn't want to give it too high of a score coming out of the gate, not knowing what was going to be around the corner. And we will move on to track number two. Name of the album: 4 minutes 6 second runtime. We have The Bends. So I put it's similar as the opening track. We get like a nice quiet intro, which is kind of like a theme throughout the album. The intros are always kind of quiet and I almost want to say like misleading because you don't really know where it's going to go. Like on this one, we get a powerful guitar strum. 30 seconds in, we get Tom York for the first time. Vocals again are really good. This track from the get go is more attention grabbing than the opening track. There's a lot more going on. Vocals are a little bit more pop rock, post grunge sounding. Where do we go from here? The words are coming out all weird. Where are you now? I need you. The track really reminded me of something you'd hear on Pop with Honey, which I know that's kind of like a callback to what I was saying about track number one, but I just Radiohead has a very distinct sound, and it's not a bad sound, just very distinct, and it's very much their own sound. Right before the 2 minute mark, around 1 minute 55, the music sounds a little bit more compressed. Like the band is kind of playing. It sounds like it's all funneled in through like a pop can. It's like very treble heavy. I feel like,
Hmm.
um, and then it goes back to the full sound. It's repeated again later. I thought it was a nice little audio touch. I feel like on this album they definitely were a little bit more experimental with their overall like sounds and changing stuff. This is a fine enough track. I wouldn't say it's more catchy than the opening track because it. I don't want to say it dropped off, but it definitely didn't get me as excited as I was hoping it would. The guitar and the percussion though really give the track more of a rock sound versus track one. We get more of the post grunge sound on this track than we did on the opening track. This one is a little bit more high energy, but I do prefer the first track over this one. I gave this a slightly lower score. I gave it a 3.4.
Okay. So I got this song also opens quiet with what sounds like some faint like background noise in like a city setting before the song really pops off with the electric guitar and drums before you start to notice the bass. And then Tom York's vocals. Tom's like yeah, vocals before the verse starts. Where do we go from here? The words are coming out all weird. Where are you now when I need you? Um, Alone on an airplane, falling asleep against the window pane. My blood will thicken. I like the music kind of pulls back a little bit on the verse with what almost sounds like an organ. Kind
Yeah,
of,
it was hard. Like they use a lot of strings, but it's kind of hard. Like I couldn't find a lot of stuff, not just for
yeah.
this track, but other tracks where it's like I want like I'm
What is
not
that?
I don't know enough about music.
To
You'll
say
find that
one way
out
or another
later,
for
but like
certain.
what it is, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
that tone smart, but yeah, it's
Uh,
something.
yeah, the organ like faintly in the background before we get a guitar riff and a much more musically brazen second verse with some very distinct guitars going back and forth. The chorus comes and goes very quick. My baby's got the bends. Oh no, we don't have any real friends. No, no, no. The post chorus, the vocals like totally change, sounding like buried beneath the music as the drums become very prominent and loud as the guitar revs up into the next verse. When the next post chorus comes back, I really like how Tom's vocals ring out along with the music breakdown. Some great shredding as Tom yells out. I wish, I wish, I wish that something would happen.
I thought you were
Kind
gonna
of.
sneeze for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, you gonna blow?
But yeah, he wishes something would happen, and then like kind of gets overtaken by the music a little bit. The song has no shortage of lyrics. I really enjoy "I Want to Live." I would want to be a part of the human race. Um, this before we come back to the beginning with a soft fade out. Where do we go from here? What's it coming out of? Where are you now? When I need you. Like it's nice. It's a nice close to the
Yeah, I
song.
went too low on this song. I don't know what I was thinking.
The and like I don't know, not to be too much, but like this song always that like kind of always made me think of my dad a little bit. Just like, yeah, where do we go, man? Me now.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's really all you need in the song.
yeah, just something I can like
Yeah, you
attach
can
to
put
it.
your teeth in. Yeah.
This delivery in particular makes me think of loved ones that aren't around anymore. And for that, it's always resonated with me. This song only steps up in quality from the last track. Really grand scale moments musically with some deep introspective lyrics. I give this a 3.8 out of 5. On to track number 3, we have another single, High and Dry, coming in at 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Uh, the cymbals open the song, followed up by drums, acoustic guitar, and some bass. Tom comes in with a very soft delivery with more lyrics that I really enjoy, and I've always kind of wondered like what does that mean with the two jumps in a week? I bet you think that's pretty clever, don't you, boy? Flying on your motorcycle, watching all the ground beneath you drop. The song is pretty reserved musically to start, remaining mostly acoustic. Picking up as we get to the chorus, don't leave me high, don't leave me dry.
Don't
Leave
leave
me
me
high, don't leave me dry. Coming off the chorus, I really appreciate the drums and the acoustic guitar playing off each other before the verse starts up. Drying up in conversation, you will be the one who cannot talk. All your insides fall to pieces, you just sit there wishing you could still make love. Coming off the second chorus, we get a guitar solo from 249 to 310 before the final verse and chorus. On the outro, we get a very emotive "Don't leave me high" and a soft "Don't leave me dry." Uh, the song was one of the first that I had heard off this album. I remember it playing on 1025 back in the day, and I
CD
CD
1025
1025. This is back whenever I had to Google the radio station
to
to
get
be
the
like, what was
playlist.
your recently
Yeah,
played? You know what I
top 30
mean?
songs
Yeah.
or
Fucking,
past 30 songs.
what was that? That sounded
You
like
gotta listen. You
Radiohead.
gotta listen to like 5 of them to figure out which song it was.
Bro, when you were really roughing it, you had to be like, I'm like trying to like type in the lyrics real quick. The fuck you
While
say?
it's going off, yeah.
You know what I
Back
mean?
before Shazam.
Yeah. No, it's probably a thing I just didn't have. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Um,
I downloaded that fucking app.
This song actually has two music videos. One is kind of basic. It's just like a black and white video of the band just playing the song out in the desert. And the other another that was kind of cinematic, taking place in a diner. It was supposedly heavily inspired by Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
Um,
Honey buddy.
Only coming out like 6 months after the movie. So, and I can totally see it.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people like that scene.
It's a couple that like just like I don't know robbed like a bank or something, and then like their car blows up at the end, and like Radiohead's at the fucking diner. I don't know. It's a whole
Don't
thing.
leave me high.
Yeah,
Vincent Vega.
I don't know. Tom York like shares a moment with a kid in the bathroom, which sounds weird, but like it's innocent. But then some guy comes in, and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" It's a whole thing, but. Anyway, this is pretty high on my list of favorite songs, not just off this album, but by Radiohead in general. I really love this song. I gave this is up there. This is up there. I gave this a 4.3.
Okay.
Yeah. out of 5.
Yeah, no, it's a great song. It's got some slow percussion on the intro, like you said, a little bit of cymbal noise. It does have more of an acoustic noise or acoustic sound, I should say. Uh, I thought I heard some other strings in this song too, but I couldn't really find any like strong evidence that really could give me a grasp of what that was. It was a very pretty opening sound on the intro. The vocals pop up around 27 seconds. Very good. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less at this point. Um, I didn't have this in my liked songs, but I instantly recognized it. It's a very solid, slow vibe with energy that builds both for music and York's vocals. Upon the first delivery of the chorus, around a minute and 10, I swear before that, around 103 to 105, it sounds like the music is like really building to that 110 mark. Song has excellent writing. With an abundance of lyrics, I find interesting the opening verse, two jumps in a week. I bet you think that's pretty clever, don't you, boy? Don't you, boy? I was
Don't
going to
you,
joke with you and be like,
boy?
you don't know what this is about? It's about Evil Knievel.
Yeah, duh.
And at first I was like, what? And this is one of the ones with the cryptic lyrics. Like, let me go back to that. I don't know what they're talking about. It's just like,
It's kind of left up to
yeah,
interpretation.
and I mean, I like that. There's nothing wrong with that. The closing verse, though, it's the best thing you ever had, the best thing you ever had. And it just kind of repeats that. And then we go into the So Don't Leave Me High, Don't Leave Me Dry. And it's just so smooth, the delivery of York's vocals. This is definitely like, I keep kind of going back to it sounding like Pablo Honey. This is definitely where it's separated um, the two halves of that sound before and sound after. This is something that's totally different and new, at least in my opinion. And I saw quite a few people online mention how this song is like overplayed and it's kind of lost its spark. And I was thinking to myself, like, I've never heard it played a lot. And then it kind of dawned on me, it's like, oh, the people that were saying that were probably like 40 now. They weren't, I mean, we weren't even born when this came out. So it's
Sure.
not like we really have a dog in the fight. But I'll say it now. When I think of Radiohead, I think of Creep personally, which is even before that. So I don't feel like this is played like Creep is overplayed on the radio. I don't want to say now, but I feel like it's one of their more played songs on mainstream radio. So I don't think this is overplayed at all. It was kind of refreshing hearing it because I had heard it before, but just it hasn't really worn out its welcome with me at all. I enjoy it. There's a nice guitar solo before the 3 minute mark, and then the vocals come back in. York's vocals do seem to get a little bit more intense along with the music the longer the song goes on. It kind of builds. I like this song a lot. I mean, this was one of the best songs on the album, in my opinion. I gave this a 4.1.
Okay.
And that will move us on to track number 4, Fake Plastic Trees, with a runtime of almost 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 50 seconds. So this is like quite a change, this track, compared to the previous track. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Um, I didn't know at first if I was going to like this, and then it kind of quickly changed to like, okay, this is actually better than High and Dry. The final version, I guess, was influenced by your guy, Shane, Jeff Buckley.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess they drew a little bit of inspiration from him. Unlike the previous track that I thought had some strings, this one does for sure have a cello, viola, and violin. And this is one that I decided to actually watch the music video for. I don't know if you've seen the music video for it, but I kind of read about it, and it's a pretty neat video. Just Tom York, he's
In the
being,
shopping cart?
yeah, just being pushed through. It's very 90s tastic, kind of a step back in time almost. He's in a shopping cart, like you said, with all the items in store. There's like no brand names or anything. It's just all colors on boxes and stuff like that. The song opens with the slow strumming of the guitar, which is kind of a theme throughout the album. York's delivery of her green plastic watering can for a fake Chinese rubber plant in the fake plastic earth. Again, like kind of cryptic with the lyrics. I mean, I get the vibe more of this song than any of the others up to this point. I really enjoy the writing and the delivery of York's vocals and how they're pushed more to the foreground in this track, which it doesn't really feature a lot of percussion. Again, it's more of like a acoustic sounding track overall. But at 120, it's still the percussion at 120 kind of pops up, but it still is pretty mellow. It's very reserved on the drumming. Um, the track features excellent writing again, like the first verse I gave you, but also he used to do surgery for girls in the 80s, but gravity always wins. I thought that was kind of a clever little line. Um, and just the way it's pronounced, the way the gravity always wins. It's very good and just easy for York to just obtain that vocally. Around the 2 minute 45 point of the track, it really picks up this energy, and York's vocals get more direct and louder. The acoustic delivery is gone and forgotten before coming back to that slow pace around 3.5 minutes. It's a solid track that really starts pretty mellow, and it kind of builds and builds before winding back down, but leaving you with some real vulnerable lyrics of, and if I could be who you wanted, and if I could be who you wanted all the time, all the time. Which I think is a solid verse. I didn't find it like super impressionable, but I could see where other people could like really hang their hat on that line because it's very well written and it's a good vibing song. And I actually gave it a higher score than High and Dry just because I thought the writing was a little bit more vulnerable, and I don't know, it hit me a little deeper on this one. I gave this a 4.2.
Okay, so I got. Let's see here.
Looky here.
Look here, listen. Acoustic guitar opens the song with vocals right away. The vocals sound very intimate and close, with a bit of an echo to them. Her green plastic watering can for a shake for
Shake,
a
rattle, and
fake
roll.
fake Chinese rubber plant in the fake plastic earth. The music quietly swells on the verse, sounding like some stringed instruments with electric guitar in the background. The music then pulls back to the acoustic guitar and what sounds like an organ on the chorus. And it wears around and wears around. The second verse again starts to swell musically, kind of picking up where the last one left off, but this time reaches even higher just because like it's further along than it was last time around. She lives with a broken man, a cracked polystyrene man who just crumbles and burns. The chorus leads to a crazy pop musically. It wears him out. It wears him out. It wears like the guitar, the drums, the organs, the vocals. They're all going wild, hitting the climax of the song. I always like the line, but I can't help the feeling I could blow through the ceiling if I could just turn and run. At 3:25, the song winds down quietly for the final chorus and outro. It wears me out. And if I could be who you want I really like how like quiet and
All the
soft
time. Yeah, no, it
all the
adds a lot of
time.
puncture
Yeah,
to the wound
it's like
with that.
shit, I
It's
feel
like,
it.
all right,
Ah,
you got me crying.
it's like I wish you could be it too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's really nice. Before we get the acoustic guitar and the organ to play out the song reaches some really insane like emotional highs. Um, I think like not just emotionally but like sonically too. Like there's some really big bombastic like musical moments on this. Um, this and High and Drive serve as like a really crazy just 1-2 punch from this album.
From different hands too. Like they sound quite different from each other, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. But both of these are some of my favorites by them.
Yep.
You and I are close on this one, but I didn't give this any different of a score than the last one. I gave this a 4.3 out of 5.
Okay.
On to track number 5. We have Bones coming in at 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Bam bones.
Five songs in, and this is another quiet opening. Electric guitar comes in like distorted, becoming closer and closer before the music really comes in proper at 14 seconds. With the bass and the drums, the vocals coming in at 30 seconds. I don't want to be crippled and cracked. Shoulders, wrist, knees, and back. 103, the music takes off. The chorus having their like this like deep metallic sort of hum as the vocals liven up. When you've got to feel it in your bones, while looping up the lyrics, while looking up, sorry, typo. While looking up the lyrics, I noticed this is the shortest song on the album. Lyrically, the song isn't too crazy. The verses become shorter and shorter as it goes along. The chorus is really only like the same line repeated
Yeah.
twice each time. The music really is more the standout on this track. The layering of the guitars, the consistent drumming to offset some of the more layered instrumentation. At 2:33 is full instrumental through until the end of the song, with a few really punchy moments of the guitar and drums. Not to be harsh, but I think upon this listen, this is probably the least I've enjoyed this song. It's not bad. There just isn't a
Yeah.
ton to it.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I went a little low on this one. I only gave this like a 3-1, but I could see myself giving it like a 3-3,
I could see myself giving it like a
a
2-7.
1-3. You know.
All right, yeah, Bones. It's got an interesting 13-second fade in, followed up with a normal guitar strumming, noticeable bass riff on the intro too. But the echoing guitar kind of remains solid throughout the track. It's quite a bit of a different sound, but still very Radiohead sounding, especially with just Tom's York's. Tom York's his vocals are just like I said, they're so iconic. I don't want to be crippled and cracked, and I noticed crippled is spelled with a K
Oh,
in there. So I think that's more of the UK spelling, just like how they spell color and tires different than we do. Right after the minute mark, the music really takes off and swells. Vocals sort of increase their energy as well. Track is still pretty chill though, even with the occasional swell of energy. I don't feel like it ever got too heavy, but it's one of the more heavier songs this far. Song didn't really do a whole lot for me lyrically, but I did like the one of the ending verses. Now I can't climb the stairs, pieces missing everywhere, Prozac painkillers when you've got to feel it in your bones. Again, it's a song that I didn't really find a lot of substance in the lyrics. Even the line I about flying like Peter Pan, I thought that was an interesting little note in there, but just not a whole lot for me to really indulge into. It's a solid enough track, but I feel like it's kind of overshadowed by the previous two tracks that were kind of working against it, putting this track down because it's not as good, and I think we're both in the same boat. Overall, though, I liked it. It wasn't terrible. It just was a little bit of a drop off. There's a jam session sound kind of on the end of the track that sounded a little Aerosmithy to me. I gave this a 3-6. It's not spectacular, but it's very tolerable. Moving on though, track number 6, we have in quotations, "Nice Dream" with a runtime 3 minutes 53 seconds. I like this song a lot, but I am gonna say it has a lot of repetition in it. There's a nice smooth guitar strumming on the intro, which I feel like I've said almost every time I've had the lead opening up. But it does drop into the full band sound with percussion and bass, which is similar to, as I said, what I've been saying the whole time. But this is very dreamy sounding on the intro, no pun intended, with it being Nice Dream. Vocals that are given by York definitely help kind of to keep it pretty dreamy sounding. I mean, he has a voice that's definitely capable of doing that. It fades pretty quick, but the guitar is on the intro, specifically on the intro. Sorry, I had like a hiccup there. It reminded me a little bit, and it's short, just on the strumming of the guitar of something you'd hear on Mazzy Star. Like, not gonna lie, you're missing a
hmm.
little bit of tambourine there. But as I said, it fades away pretty quick. And like I was saying, the song utilizes a lot of repetition, especially with the nice dream being repeated so much. I didn't count it, but it's got to be at least 10 times it's repeated. But it works. It really ties the track together, and I can't really see a better way to do it. Lyrically, it's very catchy and it flows. The use and reuse of Nice Dream, like I said, it fits the vibe of the song, and it's necessary. I don't know how else they could do it. The opening verse kind of riding off the dreamy intro sound. They love me like I was a brother. They protect me, listen to me. They dug me my very own garden, gave me sunshine, made me happy. Nice dream, nice dream. And it's dreamy. It's very smooth. 212, we get a little bit of layered vocals, which I don't know if this was the first time they popped up. This is the first time I've noted them. But it's a nice touch when they do the layered vocals. Now, I didn't do a lot of research to see if it was just Tom's vocals over his own vocals, or if it was the rest of the band. But we get the nice dream. If you think you belong enough, nice dream. If you think that you're strong enough, nice dream. If you think you belong enough. At 2:30, the 2.5 minute mark, we get like a screeching guitar solo esky sound. It's not really like a full solo, because it ultimately the track does slow back down into its dreamy sound, like the intro and the majority of the song, if I'm being honest. Um, York's vocals also kind of pop with the guitar solo. He's kind of like, I don't want to say screaming, but his vocals definitely peak with the guitar right there at around the 2.5 minute mark. There's definitely some strings evident in this track too. I'm not sure exactly if it was cello or violin, but there is definitely like a pretty string section towards the middle or the end of the track, like definitely on the back half of the track. Overall, I really enjoyed this one. It's not my favorite track by no means, but it was a good listen, and it was a new to me track, which kind of gave it some bonus points and makes it hold a little bit more water because I didn't, like I said, I didn't really know a whole lot of Radiohead going into this. I gave this a 3.8.
Okay. So I got Nice Dream. Another song off of this album that is quite opening with the acoustic guitar. I will say though, it is kind of hard to be mad at this album when it's all very well done, like the slow, quiet opening. The song is this song in particular makes it work. Coming off is very dreamy, like you said. Pun not intended, but it's kind of inevitable just
Yeah.
given the track's name. The electric guitar hitting 15 seconds in, the vocals at 23. They love me like I was a brother. They protect me, listen to me. They dug me my very own garden, gave me sunshine, made me happy. The chorus, we get some stringed instrumentation as Tom repeats, Nice dream, nice dream. The next verse, there is some electric distortion to the guitar beneath the acoustic as the vocals become a little more emotive. I call my friend the good angel, but she's out with her ansophone. The chorus has some backing vocals. If you think that you're strong enough, nice dream. If you think you belong enough, nice dream. As the strings come back and the vocals lead us into a guitar solo through until about 3:02 as the song pulls back and slows down. Nice Dream repeats to close out the song. The song is very soft and atmospheric. I think that is what makes it kind of a standout amongst the rest of the album, really. Just how soft and kind of serene it is. I give this a 3.4 out of 5. Going on to track number 7, we have Just coming in at 3 minutes and 54 seconds. I will say up front, I'm a little surprised this didn't get like the single treatment. The acoustic guitar opens the song before the drums and electric guitar and bass come in a few seconds later. Very upbeat and rock right out of the gate. The electric guitar going wild before Tom comes in on vocals. Can't get the stink off. He's been hanging around for days. The electric guitar hits these notes alongside with Tom's vocals. One day he'll get to you and teach you how to be a holy cow. You do it to yourself. I really like that.
Yeah.
The music stops and Tom's vocals take us into the chorus. Do it to yourself. As the music pops, you do, and that's what really hurts. There's a lot of moments on this verse where the electric guitar is kind of playful and subtle. Really works with the quieter moments on the song, and then gets right in your face during the louder sections. From 156 through until 236 is full instrumental, starting loud before pulling back, going more quiet, before exploding back in with some really scratchy guitar as we get the final chorus with Tom like full emoting, getting kind of raw with his delivery. You do it to yourself.
Yeah.
Um, self like like that.
Yeah, he lets it loose on this one for sure.
It's good. It reminds me a little bit of like something we would have heard off of In Utero.
Yeah, I can see it.
We get another instrumental before the outro. You do it to yourself, repeating, getting like wilder and wilder and wilder as it goes along. Um, shit, I gave this a 3.6, but I could give this like a 3.7 or 8. Honestly, I actually really like this
Okay.
song. It definitely makes my likes either way,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a little bit higher than you. Even your adjusted score, I'm actually just a smidge higher than it. It's
Okay.
another strumming intro, but it gets pretty rock and rollish early, and then kind of backpedals and smooths out, and it kind of lets the band kind of quiets down and really lets York's vocals kind of take center stage. The opening verse, "Can't get the stink off, he's been hanging around for days," comes like a comet, suckered you but not your friends. My favorite verse is the "One day I'll get to you and teach you how to get to the purest hell. To get to purest hell." The track also features a pretty catchy chorus, and while it's repeated, similar to the previous track, it works really good and it flows really good, as it did in the previous track. You do it to yourself, you do, and that's why it really hurts. And that's why it really hurts. And this is really the first song where I kind of noticed it was done earlier on, but it really aligns with the music. Like York's vocals and the music really align, and I think it makes the track a lot more catchy. And I enjoyed the lyrics, the delivery of them, and the writing more on this track than a lot of the other previous tracks. But I really think the music aspect of the song really makes it solid. Like I said, it just kind of playing off of York's vocals. But the strumming on the intro, the percussion drop into a very catchy bass line during York's first verse is also really good, which makes the track very good musically. But I was saying, like, the guitar sounds kind of bend with York's vocals. Not so much during the chorus, but more the quieter musical parts where York's vocals really pop. Now, around the 2 minute mark, the guitar is going pretty crazy before going back into like a mellow, dreamy sounding noise, and then back. It kind of bounces back and forth a couple times between like aggressive screeching, and then just on the guitar back to like a smooth sounding strumming pattern. I don't have much more than that to say about it. I think just that the chorus, if you want to call it the chorus, I think that would be technical. Just that you do it to yourself, you
You do.
do. Yeah, it's if you're reading it on paper, it doesn't sound near as good, and I think that's the beauty of just how York delivers it, and then the music playing it into accompanying it. It's really good. I gave this a 3.9 out of
Okay.
5. Moving on, track number 8, "My Iron Lung," 4 minutes 36 seconds. Another smooth sounding intro. Vocals first appear around 20 seconds. The vocals are really smooth and kind of sweet upon delivery. "Faith, you're driving me away. You do it every day. You don't mean it, but it hurts like hell." Song has a lengthy list of lyrics, and there is some repetition. I'm not crazy about this track though. It's not bad by any means, but it's one that didn't really mesh with. I didn't really mesh with any parts of the track. And while I've described the lyrics to plenty of the other previous tracks as being cryptic, um, I didn't really find anything in this one that gave me anything at all. Um, I do like the lyrics to music connection again, where they kind of the music plays along with the vocal delivery. So we have the scratch, our eternal itch, right where the scratch, York comes out with a scratch, and
Scratch.
there's like a strum of the guitar. That's very nice. And then I want to say the verse after that, there's something similar. I also really like the writing in the verse. So while I didn't wasn't crazy about the song, there's parts of it that are fine. Like the verse, suck your teenage thumb, toilet trained and dumb. When the power runs out, we'll just hum. I don't know if you've ever been around like high voltage power. It just kind of has like a hum to it, an electric
Hmm.
hum. I liked it. I liked the writing on that. It's clever enough. It just didn't. This is a track that didn't get me vibing 100% like some of the other previous tracks. Um, but this song is supposedly about the success of Pablo Honey's single "Creep," which they were kind of trying to get away from. I have a little bit of a quote here from York. "It's me trying to kill the beast. I wrote the second half of the song when we were in America. Most of it in one day. It normally takes me ages. I wrote virtually half the album in the back of the bus with my tape recorder and my guitar. It was about me trying to get it out of my system once and for all. It's not just about Creep, it's about everything we've ever experienced. It's not just a full stop on Creep, it's a full stop on everything that was turning us into something we did not want to be. But at the same time, it's our life support system. You have to play certain games, kiss certain arses, and shake hands with certain people you'd rather hit in the face. But everybody has to do it. It's part of being human, and Iron Lung is us trying to come to terms with it. So I wasn't crazy about the song, but just the way he described the Iron Lung, and it's like they were kind of being forced. I don't want to say being forced to be mainstream, but almost like we talked about certain songs being like the label is really heavy influential on the sound,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of what this song was. Is it's like, this we kind of have to do this to stay alive. Like we have to have the iron lung, and I think they were kind of associating the industry as their iron lung. So I liked it for that. It wasn't crazy to me overall, but I do like the meaning behind it, and it kind of made me bump up my score a little bit. I gave it a 3.6 because, like I said, I wasn't crazy about it, but the overall message of it, I can back that up.
For sure. And I feel like it definitely helps that, like, what you were saying earlier about, like, when you think Radiohead, you think,
I'm in that boat.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's like
Tom York would hate me.
you're only adding fuel to that
He's like,
fire
you
of,
haven't
like,
heard anything else, Mike.
yeah, that's it. So it's a very spacey and, like, atmospheric opening with the electric guitar as additional guitars swell in the background. As the bass and drums come in, the vocals come in and are kind of soft and disarming. Faith, you're driving me away. You do it every day. You don't mean it, but it hurts like hell. The bass line and the drums are steady as the verse, or blah, 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 steady as we
Back it
get
up.
some twinkling from the guitar over the verse. The second verse comes in as the music picks up a little bit, but Tom remains pretty subdued, raising his voice on the second half of the second verse. Scratch our eternal itch, a 20th century bitch.
I like that.
We, me too. We are grateful for our iron lung. Like I like the way he drags that out. The uh the first two verses both ending with iron lung. I thought that was a nice touch. At 158, the music picks up, getting pretty wild and abrasive on the chorus as Tom does the same on the vocals. The vocals are very effects heavy and scratchy while still being buried beneath the music. The head shrinkers, they want everything. My uncle, Bill, my Belisha Beacon. It honestly kind of reminds me again of
Verona.
In Utero. Yeah, just a little bit. Coming off the second chorus on the bridge, the music pulls back as one guitar stays steady, repeating notes as the other kind of rings out, and Tom sings more softly. And if you're frightened, you can be frightened. Um, you can be, it's okay. And then we get another wild bit of electric guitar on the solo before the final chorus comes in over the guitar before quickly coming to an end. Um, I guess this is a like fan favorite of theirs.
Not this fan.
I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I wasn't super crazy about it either, man.
So it's like
We're
yeah,
pretty close on that one.
it's good, but
Yeah, not
yeah,
that good.
not that good.
on
Coming on to yeah, I'm gonna come on
that
to fucking
bulletproof.
track number 9. I tell you what,
Shit, I wish you would.
I touched your leg, boy. Is Bulletproof. I wish I was. Coming in at 3 minutes and 28 seconds. Right away, I will say the studio version of the song is on the back foot a little bit. It is. I used to have a version of the song downloaded back in the day, but it was a live performance
It
of
was
the song.
better.
Yeah, where I was like, oh,
Studio version not good. Kakas.
that live version though. I'll yeah, the live version really fucking set it over the top. Fucking Life of Chuck, that bitch. So good. Uh, but yeah, it just like this. Just it's not as good in my opinion. This is another song that I feel is like the epitome of like sad Radiohead songs. The song
Yeah.
is it's very emotionally honest about wishing not to be emotionally vulnerable to like life and its hurdles that come with it. Song opens with some metallic droning and twinkling and very distorted guitar before the acoustic guitar comes in as the metallic guitar kind of continues. Drums hit about 40 seconds in with Tom singing. Um, Really, like the song takes its time musically and vocally to get going. Speaking of, this song is pretty tight on lyrics, only having three short verses and two choruses, one of which serves as the outro as well. That being said, I feel like this song spreads them out pretty well, taking its time to get to them.
Yeah.
Um, Tom's slower delivery, as well as some of the delivery being dragged out, wax me, mold me, heat the pins and stab them in. You have turned me into this. Just wish that it's bulletproof. I really love at 146 the electric guitar comes in alongside bulletproof. The vocals and the instrumentation, like they're so pretty together. It's very introspective, and it serves as a great close to the song. Accompanied by some backing vocals, I think the song is equal parts spacey, sad, and beautiful. I really like this track. I gave this a I kind of want to go a little lower on it, but I gave it a 3.9. I could give it like a 3.7, but give like the live performance like a 3.9 to a 4. Yeah, man, out of 5. So yeah.
I'm actually surprised we're pretty close on this one. Track kind of takes some time to give us some vocals. They don't really pop up until about 40 seconds. Limb by limb and tooth by tooth. Uh, is it tearing up inside or yeah, tearing up inside of me? I was like,
Mhm.
I don't have my earbuds in. I don't
Could be
know.
either.
Could be either, man. It was a little bit of a difference. Every day, every hour, I wish that I was bulletproof.
And like real quick, like I also like I almost took that as like could be double. It's like am I emotionally just like impenetrable or am
Yeah,
I like physically
yeah. I'm weeping.
bulletproof? Yeah, man. I cannot be killed by a bullet. Tell you what.
So yeah, like you were saying, though, the vocals are spaced and there's a slower delivery um, applied to the vocals. It creates a very mellow vibe, and it's one of the sadder, depressing, and emotional feeling songs. I don't know if depressing is the best way to describe it, but it is a very deep track. So pay me money and take a shot. Uh, Lead fill the hole in me. I could burst a million bubbles, all surrogate and bulletproof. Vocals get a little higher on this track too. We've had higher vocals at points, but this track really utilizes them, especially on the delivery of bulletproof. It's very high pitched. There isn't a lot of lyrics for the song, as you were saying, Shane, but I think it's fine. The song gets its point out without saying a lot. Musically, it's very relaxed and calming in a way. Um, the track never really changes its sound. There's not really a big change up in it. The intro to me was like really the only divide. It's just very quiet and kind of misleading because you don't really know what's going to happen until that 40-second mark where the music kind of picks up more. Um, and I didn't, up into that 40-second mark, I didn't anticipate the track being as mellow as it was. Um, there's also really not a presence of like a wailing guitar in this track, which is a little different. The track is, like I said, very deep and emotional, with the rocking guitar left out, which is kind of nice because on all the other tracks, there's always some kind of like guitar squealing, going off the rails, something for Radiohead, anyways. Going off the rails might be a little excessive, but there's something going on with the guitar in this track. It didn't really have it. This is a track that I liked a lot, but this isn't something I'd blare at a high volume. But it's very smooth and relaxing, kind of like a hidden gem in a way. Um, I liked how this track shows York's vocals because this is really one of the only tracks where he kind of slows stuff down and utilizes a little bit more spacing, and it is such a vulnerable track. Um, and it's a very smooth sounding track too, which I think kind of showcases Radiohead as a whole. This again is something I kept comparing this album to Pablo Honey, and this is another song where it definitely separated itself. I gave this a 3.8 out of 5. And that will take us to our first possibly final break. I will come back to talk to you guys about track number 10, Black Star. And we are back. Track number 10, we have Black Star coming in at 4 minutes, 7 seconds. This track utilizes, I mean, we've talked about the slow fade in, but this track is the first to really use the slow fade in from the previous track. It kind of gradually picks up volume until about the 15-second mark, where I'd say the guitar volume is pretty leveled out to being what it's going to be for the majority of the song. The vocals come in about 6 seconds later, so right around the 21-second mark. It's a very mellow sounding intro. It's something you totally miss. You would totally miss this transformation if you were just kind of thumbing through the album instead of listening to it in sequence. Um, I get home from work and you're still standing in your dressing gown. The song has an excellent chorus. Those were the opening lyrics. Uh, but the song has an excellent chorus of blame it on the black star, blame it on the falling sky, blame it on the satellite that beams me home. I like that. Blame it on the satellite that beams me home. This is another song that kind of had like the cryptic lyrics to me. I couldn't really put my finger on any of the actual meaning. I don't know, Shane, if you have anything definitive in it, but
I do.
it utilizes that blame it on the black star, blame it on the falling sky, blame it on the satellite that beams you home. It uses that 3 times for the 4 minute runtime. Again, utilizing that repetition that we've kind of talked about throughout the album. This is another one where the chorus was really catchy and viable, but it didn't really strike a deep meaning uh, for me. Like I didn't really find a lot of depth in it. Musically, though, it's solid. The transition musically into the chorus is really good, along with the chorus itself. Like I was saying, the track also at times has a nice bass guitar riff that's noticeable. It never really takes center stage, but the sound is definitely there if you look for it. Um, but it's kind of tucked away, as I feel like majority of like bass sounds are. York's vocals are higher pitched on the intro, but get quite a bit deeper on the chorus. Just again, kind of showing his overall range and depth. Um, he does bring a deep and emotional vibe to the song, as it's still pretty upbeat, but he does kind of bring a little bit of depth to it. Even though I didn't find a lot of depth in the lyrics, it's definitely there is some emotional vulnerability in his work. Um, this is a song, like I said, it didn't strike me on a deep level, but it's very viable and something I would listen to if I was thumbing through the album. Even though, like I said on the intro to the song, that I would miss that slow fade in. Um, and I like songs like this. So I'm gonna bring up Tame Impala. They have a song, "The Less I Know, the Better," and before that, there's a song. I can't think of what it's called, but it's a slow fade in, and it really just plays into the next track. And I feel like that's similar to this track on the intro. So I do like it for that. Overall, though, this wasn't something that knocked my socks off, but it is a decent enough song. For Black Star, I give it a 3.7 out of 5.
Okay. So I got the let's see here.
Looky here.
I got Black Star. The opening to the song is kind of interesting because it has a fade in that it kind of feels like we're walking into a song like in progress. Yeah, I mean it's a song in progress is quietly
It's almost like
fading.
it's in the center of the house and you're walking through the front door and you're closing in on the
Yeah,
noise. That's a good way
exactly.
to put it. I
Yeah,
like that.
totally. With the full band playing before Tom comes in at 20 seconds. Layered guitars, some steady drumming and bass as his vocals are soft and sincere. I get home from work and you're still standing in your dressing gown. Well, what am I to do? I know all the things around your head and what they do to you. What are we coming to? What are we going to do? From here, we reach the chorus that to me always sounded kind of dramatic and like a dramatic breakdown, almost sounding like exhausted emotionally. You know what I mean? Blame it on the black star, blaming it on the falling sky, blame it on the satellite that beams me home. It was when I started to look into the song that that the vibe I was getting was it was vindicated. The song is widely, sorry, widely considered to be about the struggle of a failing relationship with someone who struggles with mental health. And I can see it, like the troubled words of a troubled mind. I try to understand what is eating you. Coming off the final chorus at 3 minutes and 23 seconds to the end of the song, maintains more of a upbeat pace from the chorus with the line, "This is killing me," repeated twice. I consider this to be a solid song, although I wouldn't put it that high on this album. Like it, good song, but there's better. I give this a 3.4 out of 5.
Gotcha.
Doesn't quite make my like songs, but it's not far off from them.
It's okay. The next one won't either.
It'd be a lot further off, but I
I'll
tell you
have a
what.
sulk in this score. I tell you.
The song opens with some light drumming and very distorted guitar echoing out. It almost leaves you trying to like kind of get your bearings as the song gets going. 8 seconds in, the drums bring us to the guitar, which becomes more clear, along with the bass guitar followed up by the vocals. The song has an almost like festive sound to it, between the electric guitar hanging on its notes, the steady maraca, and louder delivery of the vocals on the chorus. Sometimes you sulk, sometimes you burn. God rest your soul. When the loving comes and we've already gone, just like your dad, we'll never change. You'll never change. Also, after the last episode, I thought I should include um, that this, according to Google AI, Radiohead's Sulk is widely considered as a response to the 1987 Hungerfold massacre.
That happened in England.
Yeah, dealing with themes of senseless violence, depression, and personal turmoil. Originally containing lyrics about a gunman,
Shoot your gun.
Tom York altered them to avoid being solely linked to the death of Kurt Cobain. Did you have that?
I did not. I had some of that. There was a lyric. I guess one of the final lyrics was "shoot your gun."
Okay.
But I guess that was changed.
But they didn't want to be associated with that. So fair enough. I mean, like this came out in '95. He died in like late '94. So I mean, I get it.
That's like the one we just covered in utero. You can check the channel for that. But there was a single that was released with Penny Royalty. I think that was later called back, and it was a single. I hate myself and I want to die. I think it was a Nirvana song.
And
but
they're like,
whoa, that struck a chord.
Boy, you fucking crazy.
I'm still like the jury's still out on that because I don't know if you've seen like they did. I don't want to get us too off tangent because we are running close on time, but they did like reopen. Somebody's trying to reopen the Kurt Cobain case. Yeah, so
didn't Penny Royalty like help him like it was like an aid while he was like trying to take heroin?
It's definitely a heroin vibe song. Yeah, okay. Just tea in general for the stomach.
Okay.
Make your tummy feel good.
At 2:33, we get a guitar solo with some faint vocals in the background. The chorus comes back one more time at its most pronounced in its delivery, almost sounding celebratory in its tone. Not a bad track by any means, but it is not one that I find myself coming back to on this album much at all. It's toward the bottom of my ranking. For me, anyways. I give this a 3.2 out of 5.
So I had read, I'm piggybacking on, you've already kicked it. You've knocked it to the ground. I'm going to kick it while it's down. I read that the band itself, Radiohead, as a whole, the whole group isn't even a fan, I guess. And supposedly what I was reading on Reddit is they haven't performed it since 1995. And I don't have a whole lot for this one. It's, if not my least favorite, it's one of my least favorite tracks on the album. It is a little different sounding. York's vocals sound a little different on this album. I don't know what it was. I honestly, I this is one of the albums, and we talked about like how we were kind of both behind on notes for this episode, but I didn't listen to this album really maybe once or twice a full listen, but it was hard for me to delegate like different sounds. But I'm like his vocals sound different on this. They still sound like him,
Mm-hmm.
granted, but it just sounds like the mixing is a little different. And I wasn't hip to that vibe. Let me tell you. Um, the opening verse is okay, but again, I'm just not crazy about that vocaling mixture. You bite through the big wall. The big wall bites back. You just sit there and sulk, sit there and bawl. The track almost sounds popish in a way. It's hard for me to put my finger on it. It's just the sound I think of the vocal mix. It kind of threw me for a loop here. There's also a good amount of repetition with this track with the chorus. Sometimes you sulk, sometimes you burn. God and rest your soul when loving comes, and we've already gone just like your dad. You'll never change. I just wasn't crazy about that. And I don't really. I read that it was connected with the massacre or whatever, and I didn't even really look into all of the details of that. But it just for me, it didn't really connect. What was the one album we did a while back where it was a shooting somewhere in the UK, or it was a police officer who was off duty or
Oh,
something? Who was it? Was it
it was
Alt
Arc.
J?
It was
Arc.
Arc
Okay,
by Everything
and I
Everything.
felt like that was a little bit more. I'm not trying to underlie the whole massacre or whatever, but I feel like they did a better job portraying that as a, I don't want to say tribute song, but kind of a tribute.
Sure.
Where this one, it didn't really tie into me at all. Um, the guitar around the 2.5 minute mark was kind of meh to me. It was another distorted sound guitar, as it was in previous tracks, but again, it just seemed like a little off to me sounding wise. Um, Not a terrible song, but it didn't really strike my fancy at all. And this is something, if I was going to skip anything, this would be one of the tracks I would skip. Um, and part of me wonders too. This wasn't a single, was it?
No.
Okay, well, that's good. At least we got that going for it. But yeah, this is something I would. It's on the back half of the album. I don't want to say it's filler music, but for me, it just wasn't something I was crazy about. I give it a 3.3 out of 5,
Okay.
which will take us to track number 12, the final track. We have Street Spirit, in quotations, Fade Out, with a runtime of 4 minutes, 12 seconds. Another, here we are on the last track, and wouldn't you know it, we got a nice strumming on the intro, lyrics around the 14-second point, which I feel like is the ingredients for a Radiohead track on this album. Rows of houses all bearing down on me. I can feel their blue hands touching me. All these things in a position, all these things will one day swallow whole. Intro sounds like a little bluesy to me a little bit, mostly just on York's vocals, not so much musically. Um, it just feels a little slow and dragged out on delivery of and fade out again and fade out. I like that slow, dragged out delivery on that. I thought that was nice. That's not so much the bluesy sound, but it kind of creates a vibe that kind of it does pick up tempo a little bit later on with a light percussion after the fade out delivery, which is still very early. Um, Around the 2 minute mark of the track, the sound changes a little bit musically for around 20 seconds only. York's vocals do sound a little bit different on this track, but still really good. I feel like I mean, I said something about it earlier, but I feel like they were a little bit more experimental with sounds here and there, like all over the place, um, with guitars and other miscellaneous string instruments. You were talking about the organ. I feel like that is another separation from Pablo Honey. This track doesn't remind me of anything on Pablo Honey. Um, but York has just he's got such a good range, and I feel like I can say that now, being this is the final track. Uh, I'm not crazy about this track, and his range is not crazy on this track. But as a closing track, I can really appreciate the sound that is provided here. Um, there's some layered vocals around the 2 minute mark. That's where they first appear, but also again on the back half of the track, they're added in again. And I think I mentioned it earlier. I wasn't sure if it was York on top of his own vocals or if it was just somebody in the band. It was kind of hard to find a lot of information about that and the miscellaneous string instruments. But I do like the layered vocaling. It's a nice touch. And whenever it's added, it does always kind of create a little nuance to it. Musically, it doesn't do anything spectacular, but it still is entertaining and feels pretty well put together. At 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes, It doesn't drag out. Is it? Is it over 4 minutes? I think scroll back up and see.
Let's
Yeah, it is.
see. Yep.
4:12. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a little over 4 minutes. It doesn't drag out even with the use of repetition. Like this wasn't one where I was like, all right, get on with it. Let's get this moving. No, it was fine. It fit the timestamp pretty well. Uh, this was a catchy enough track, and I've come to not really look at this point. Like again, this being the last track, I'm not really looking for anything obvious in Radiohead's writing. I think it's kind of open ended, unless it's obvious, like me and you were kind of talking about earlier. I, however, am usually pretty punctual, especially on the pod here, about the last song and its importance of tying the album together. And I think this track did a pretty good job. I think we were talking about it off mic, that we both kind of agree that the closing track was pretty good. Um, and while I don't think the track overall was great, it definitely gets some bonus points for the way it ties the track together, or ties the album together, rather, and sends us out on a good note. And that's what's going to lead me to the score I gave it, which I think is a little higher than it could be, but the way it ties everything together, I'm going to give it a 3.8 out of 5.
Okay. So let's see here. I have got that Street Spirit, in quotations, fade out. We have reached the closing track of the album. This is, in my opinion, a perfect closing track for this album. I feel like it contrasts very well with the opening track. The song is very dreary and pessimistic and almost creeping in its slow and methodical build up. It's almost epic and cinematic. The song actually appeared in both The Handmaid's Tale and Yellow Jackets, as well as an orchestral version that was featured in the trailer for Mad Max Fury Road. So like there's definitely it's cool. It's a cool song that they're like, oh, this works for setting a vibe, setting a tone.
I feel like that's radio though, or radio. That's Radiohead.
Yeah,
They have the potential to do that for sure with
definitely,
anything they do.
definitely. Um, yeah. So the soft electric guitar for the first like 15 seconds before the vocals come in, rows of houses all bearing down on me. I can feel their blue hands touching me. All these things into position. All these things will one day swallow whole. There's like little chimes that hit in between the lines that add a bit of moody flair to the song. The chorus maintains this depressing emotion. Fade out again. The next verse, we get some very light drumming, then onto the chorus, some stringed instrumentation. At the 2 minute mark, we get some layered vocalization as the strings continue and the drums pick up. The music settles into the next verse as the guitars start to layer with some very dark lyrics. Cracked eggs, dead birds, scream as they fight for life. I can feel death as it's and see its beady eyes. The music hits its stride again for the final chorus before the outro with its vocalization and strings. Immerse your soul in love. And the guitar quietly ends the song. This is one of the more depressing songs by Radiohead, in my opinion. Um, and that's saying something. Songs like Creep are touching on feelings of like loneliness and inadequacy. But this is just like everything and everyone is gonna die. So yeah, it's inevitable. The execution of the song is so well done. It's impossible for me not to appreciate it. Appreciate it. I gave it a 4.1 out of 5.
I can respect that.
So overall, what'd you think of the album?
I liked it. It definitely gave me I don't want to say a new perspective of Radiohead, but it gave me a widened one. it does remind me a lot of Pablo Honey, and I want to throw us Pablo Honey at some point. I thought about doing it for next week's episode, but I was like, that's too much. I don't want to double down. Um, but I want you, because you've never really listened to Pablo Honey cover to cover, yeah.
Mm-mm.
So I'd like to do that at some point. But it was good. It was good. There wasn't any like filler tracks. There was maybe two tracks that I would probably thumb through. Um, but overall, I liked it. Like there wasn't a lot of point to point change, subtle changes here and there, but it was pretty well tied together and everything worked. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we covered it. I feel like I'm a little more versed in them, but we're really just that's their first two albums that I'm familiar with, Pablo Honey and the
Mm-hmm.
Bends. But it wasn't bad. It was a good experience. This is probably not an album that I would buy. I'd like to hear some of their other newer stuff because, like I said, me personally, I've only listened to albums one and two. But overall, not bad. Nothing bad. It took me forever to do notes, and I feel like I kind of stuttered at points with notes. Not because the music was bad. It was just hard for me to really like find what I wanted to say about the album. So, but yeah, not a bad experience.
Okay. Respect. I thought it was good. It was a little bit of a roller coaster of an album. I mean, there was nothing like desperately like low where it was like, oof,
Yeah, there was
what
some points to
is
drop off
this?
though.
But yeah, there were definitely some higher points than others. Some hits, some sleeper hits, some that like I thought the fans were like, "Hey, this is great," and then I was kind of like, eh. And then some that I was kind of like, I'm not crazy about this. I don't want to come back to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it was a good mix of all that, but like nothing that was offensively like,
No, there was nothing I was
oh,
like,
I don't
oh
like this.
no.
Fuck no,
It
dude.
wasn't Christine McVie's debut album.
Yeah. Or the National.
God rest her
Trouble will
soul. I
find me.
wasn't gonna say anything, but yeah, that was a rough one for me.
Yeah, that was not good.
I'm gonna hang myself when the episode's done.
So,
Got me in the vibe.
on to the bonus track of the week.
The boner track.
We have Cool Cat by Queen. Do you want to go first? Or you want me
You
to?
can go first. You can take the lead.
Okay.
It is your turn and all.
So it's funny that I've known this song for I've known the song. I've heard it a number of times before, but I never knew that this was Queen.
I feel like most people don't. That's the beauty of it.
Um, I told Heather to listen to this today. She listened to it and she really liked it. But we both agreed that we're like, is this Queen? Is my fucking Queen? We didn't know. So the drums and the bass are slow and steady, paired up with some faint effects in the background. The electric guitar, and then there's Freddie Mercury's vocals. They're soft, they're smooth. It's very cool, easy listening vibes to the song. Cause you're a cool cat, tapping on the toe with your new hat. Or just cruising, driving along with your king. Swinging, feeling the beat in my heart. Feeling the beat in my heart. From here we get little bits of backing vocals. I like Freddie Mercury flexing his vocals. Uh, Messing with the beat of my heart. At 115, we get a little bit of synth, some keys, and some really soft instrumentation. At 157, we get a little break from the vocals. More of Mercury casually bringing us back in. At the 3 minute mark, feeling the beat of my heart. That turns into a twang from the guitar. The song ends with feeling every feeling. I gotta say, I really like the easy listening of Queen. It's a nice break from their more conventional rock sound.
Bicycle. Bicycle.
Bicycle. Freddie Mercury is the man, R.I.P. legend. I give this a 3.9 out of 5.
So I think this song is 80s tastic. I mean, it's from the 1982 album Hot Space. Um, it's got a very minimalist sound to it. Also, like a little bit of a funk sound,
Yeah.
utilizing Freddie's falsetto vocals. Which I played this for you and Alex was quick to point out that he was singing falsetto, and I was like, and I still don't know exactly what that means. I'm putting two and two together, and I'm kind of putting, making heads and tails of what that sounds like. But I remember Alex pointing that out right away. But the track is almost entirely played, and this is where it gets its minimalistic sound. It's almost entirely played by bassist John Deacon, who is credited with the slap bass, electric guitar, and synthesizers. So he had three roles on the track. There was also a drum machine, and Mercury doing an electric piano, and some miscellaneous synthesizers. And, of course, his vocals. So it was really only two guys and a drum machine.
Okay.
They were just filling the role of like five people total. Um, the track opens with Mercury's vocals. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's I can't. I mean, neither one of us can do it justice. You better than me in this moment. Yeah, but I can really appreciate the track on just the opening because it does sound a little different. And even if you don't know this song as it being Queen, you can respect Queen as a whole just going into this, and then you hear this and you're like, wow, Mercury really was the man, like you said.
Yeah.
Um, it's very smooth, music wise and vocal delivery. The vocals always flow. You're taking all the sunshine away, making out like you're the main line. In quotations. I knew that. Cause you're a cool cat, tapping on the toe with a new hat. It's so clever, um, and I never really noticed or paid attention to the lyrics until I followed along with the lyrics. And I've always just appreciated it more for just the simple audio sound and Freddie's amazing vocals, which I didn't know were falsetto, but now that I do, I love his amazing falsetto vocals because it is different sounding than the Queen I know. Fun fact though, the track originally featured David Bowie on backing vocals and a few other lines of spoken word to a rhythm during the middle section of the track. According to Mercury in a 1982 TV interview, Bowie was unhappy with the results and requested that his vocals be removed days before the album was slated to be released. So we were very close to having David Bowie on this, but I feel like him and Mercury were together in the fact that they were like very much showmen. And if they didn't like something, yeah, they probably didn't want to put it out there. So I can respect that, but I'm kind of curious, and I didn't look, but if you at home, the listener, or me and Shane should honestly maybe look it up because I feel like we both like this song, and maybe see if we could find like an early version with Bowie's vocals in it. That would be interesting. Overall, this is my newest to the day discovery of Queen that I didn't know that was them. And I have their. Have you ever listened to anything off News of the World?
Huh? Is that the one that this album is off? This
No,
song is
but
off
there was an
of?
episode of Family Guy where Stewie or Brian shows it to Stewie, and it's like the robot holding a person.
Okay.
I got it on vinyl years and years ago for Christmas, and it just like this song, it's a different sounding Queen than like I feel like me or you
Sure.
would associate them with. And I think this track right here, "Cool Cat," is one of the lesser known Queen songs, and I would assume this is something I would like to play for people, just based on that, really knowing that not a lot of people know it. It's not a radio hit like some of the other tracks. I gave this a 4.1 because it is a track. I removed it from my like songs and then re-added it just for the show, so it would be up in my,
Sure.
up in the top of the list. And I've listened to it quite a few times, and it's a it's a nice song. It's probably like my favorite Queen song right now. So,
Okay.
anyways, that concludes this episode. But for next week, my album of choice, we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna do Hall and Oates. And fun fact about this, we're gonna be doing the album H2O, H for Hall, two for Oates, because there's two of them, Hall and Oates. I never put that together, but H2O, Hall and Oates, there's two of them.
Okay.
Bonus track though, you already told me, but remind me again. I have it marked down, but I forgot it.
It is gonna be Return of the Mac once again.
Return
by Mark Morrison.
My boy was going on a date. Been a minute
And you
for the
trying to
first
tell me
time. No, it
so?
is, dude. When you go out there, and you put your. I couldn't imagine going out in the dating world now.
Oh,
I wouldn't want
right.
to. I'd be by myself.
Yeah, it'd be just me taking me out to dinner.
Yeah, shit.
It'd be like I'm fucking
That's
having drinks.
horrible.
I'm like, I
I'm
see
about to go home and
I
take
see the
advantage of
waitress. I'm
myself.
like, come here, baby. Come here, baby. I got something to tell you.
Put my tongue in your ear.
I leave my phone number and like I never get a text or anything, but whatever.
It's like I go back, I start stalking her, staying outside her. No, we don't need any
Yeah,
of
I
that.
got my gun on me. You know what I mean?
Anyways.
Anyway, Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac, and until next time, don't work too hard now.